Hello and welcome to this first episode. I hope this is going to be the first episode, by the way, of the Mung'ala movie show. We're still working on that name though, because everyone has got a show which has got their name somewhere. But hey, welcome to this particular episode where we're going to be having an interesting conversation with an interesting individual. My name is Mung'ala, and if you've been following my YouTube channel up until this point, you know at one point I did say that I wanted to do something different. You know, initially ilikuanga tu mimi kwa kiti sitting room yangu nikikwambia tu vitu zingine sijui kama zilikuwa zinakumakia sense, but right now I want to do things differently. I'm going to be having conversations with individuals who are inspirational, people who will tell you how you need to live your life in a better way. Not that your life is bad as it is right now, but a little advice has never hurt anyone. So our first guest for today is none other than the CEO of Ngao Credit. But before we get to him, I know you're wondering, Mbuvi, umenunua nyumba mpya ama ni sitting room yako imechange? Well, I am at Silver Springs Hotel, which is another property of MGM Muthu Hotels. I'll be letting you know more about them shortly. And of course, they have partnered with us to make sure that we bring you this amazing content, if I may say. So, Wycliffe Oyier, CEO of Ngao Credit. Karibu sana, bro.
Asante sana.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I can't thank God.
You're one of the guys who never changes. I have met people, they grow tall, some grow fat, some grow thin. But since I met you, I think 3 years ago, you're not changing. What is the secret? Are you a vampire?
That's a tough question. That's a tough question.
Yeah.
I really don't know if I don't change. I think I'm one of those people who age slowly. Mm-hmm. Yes, maybe that is it.
But you age slowly?
I age slowly.
So when the rest of us are gaining like 1 year every year, you gain what, 6 months?
Yeah, I think it's like that. I'm one of those terrestrial beings.
Yeah. But welcome to the show. I want people to get to understand who Wycliffe Oyier is. But before we get to that, of course, you are the CEO of Ngao Credit.
Yes.
Ngao Credit, munafanyanga nini?
Ngao Credit, what we do you want the complicated stuff or just the simple stuff?
We have all the time in the world. You can start with the simple, get to the complicated.
What we basically do, let me just coin it in the best way I could do, is we sort people when they're in need, especially with money.
Especially with money.
Especially with money.
And I like that introduction in terms of, you know, especially with money, because you're one of the few companies, if I may call, financial institutions actually, if I may call you that way, that are accredited by the Central Bank of Kenya.
Yes.
So basically the authorities in Kenya recognize you and the work that you have done, and they have licensed you. Wamewapatia kibali.
Yes. We sort of the license under the digital credit providers license of Kenya. We do that in order to meet people. We meet people at their time of need. Mostly our major product, I think the biggest one is called logbook loans, where we give people money based on the value of their cars as collateral. Right. Yeah, that is what we do basically.
I don't know if you've seen my car. I've just parked next to you. How much money do you think my car is worth if I was to come to you today?
No, we actually don't look at it like that. We also look at you as a person. What is your character? All right. So you could have the biggest car and poor character. Yeah. You'll get money according to your character. Right. Yeah, so we're looking at a lot of things before we give you money, but majorly the collateral, your character, and what are you going to do with the money, the cash flows. Let me ask you, recently Bahati, the musician, stroke now he's a socialite, stroke now he owns a betting company. Someone like that one, if they were to come to you and say, I need some injection into my betting company, is that a trustworthy individual? When people in his caliber, for example, that akikuja kwako nasema huyu ni msee lazima tukimpatia pesa atalipa. Yeah, we basically there are ways in which people don't change from their patterns. There are ways in which you don't change from your patterns. So, irrespective of what business you're doing, and Bahati is doing amazing stuff apart from setting standards for gifts. For men. Yeah. Stress ametupatia. In fact, I told my wife, anytime I give you a gift, you need to cry. Yeah. So, alia kama Diana Bahati. Alia anguke chini. Hata kama nimeleta tu maji kama hii, lazima alie. Because I really worked hard for it. She needs to go down on her knees and cry. But anyway, we look at the character. How have you handled money before? How have you handled debt before? Yeah. Has somebody ever given you debt? Did you pay on time? And currently, you know, we are linked to the CRB. So the CRB will tell us how do you pay money? So necessarily I will not make a decision based on what the CRB is telling me.
Yeah.
But I will look at what kind of risk appetite do I have for people like you. Do you pay debt on time? Do you take time? Must you be called 60 times?
Yeah.
What kind of a person are you? Then I'll take you as a risk. Then we put that through an algorithm and we tell, hey, Patia Bahati, 10 million. Patia Bahati, 50 million. I don't know if that would make sense to him, but yeah. That's what we look at.
There's a financial institution, I don't want to mention them, but they're very popular. I took some money from them, and then last year, 2024, I was going through some financial turmoil because I had just lost my job. And it took me a while to pay these guys back because the loss of the job was so sudden and unexpected. So by the time I was repaying this loan, it took me a while, but eventually I paid it. Then these guys sort of like blocked me from receiving any more funds from them. Is that something also Ngao Credit does?
I wouldn't say block. I will profile you differently.
Yeah.
Now look at instead of if you struggle to pay maybe 100,000, then now next time now I don't give you 100,000, I'd give you maybe 20. So that I can,
a manageable amount.
Yeah, a manageable amount. You see, the aspect of taking credit is not, most people don't look at it in terms of what is the ability for this person to repay. That is more important than even what do they want to do with the money. Your ability to repay.
Yeah.
And ability to repay would come out of cash flows, character. Because there are people that, I know you have people with your debt and you will call them and it doesn't flinch. They don't flinch.
Yeah.
Then there are people, if you call them one or two, they'd rather even borrow somewhere.
And pay you.
Yeah. So we look at such as a character. So Ngao does not necessarily block anybody. We are not in the business of blocking people. And we put this, and my directors hold this to them. I do this as a person. My work as Oyier is to ensure that I have impact in your life.
Yeah.
And I want that impact to be positive in the way it comes to you. So I think critically about how do I want to be able to shape.
Okay.
What do you think?
Lastly, before now we get into Wycliffe, the individual, businesses in the country are really facing issues, problems. Some are shutting down for whatever reason. But it's a bit obvious that the economic situation in the country is not really doing good. Companies such as yours, what is the future? Because like we were talking before we started the recording, you were telling me that now people need to think outside the box, get out of this brick and mortar kind of situation. What is the future of financial institutions such as Ngao?
I think the future would be on people who are thinking about cost to serve. How do you reduce your cost of serving a client? Because even if you look at the client, they're also price sensitive. So I must ensure as a business that I reduce significantly how much I spend to serve a client so that I can be able to serve you effectively, to create value for you, and also to ensure that the business is sustainable. So any thinking around the business is as much as possible reduce your operating costs. That's the magic number. So for microfinance, you're thinking, how then do we ensure that
we're reducing that cost?
Because you see, this cost must be paid by somebody. Is it the client paying it? So if the client is going to be loaded by costs that are necessary, then that is the first place that you start with. What do I need to kick out of my operations? And that is the most important thing for me as a business. And I think any other business that is thinking around this space must always ensure that they're thinking around that. And then maybe you could also look at what are the market trends that are available in your area? Where is innovation coming in? Who is innovating? What are they innovating? Because again, you have to also critically think about the innovation that is happening around your space. How are you adapting to it? What are you doing? What are you doing to either, let me use this word, what are you doing to align with the environment?
Yeah.
That environmental co-alignment is critical for you in order to now start adjusting yourself and moving towards the right thing every other day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And other companies are also using influencer marketing, using influencers to pull us customers towards their businesses. Ngao sijaona mkitumia celeb kama mimi mahali bwana. Am No, but on a serious note, I've not seen a single influencer marketing for you guys.
It's not. It's about how do you map your customer journey? Because you must be thinking about how do your clients make decisions? What are you selling them? So I would take you as an influencer, but are you influencing the type of clients I'm targeting? Because you see, influencer marketing is a market that could have a huge potential, but it's not well organized.
Yeah.
Because you see, are they just dancing? What are they doing? Are they creating content that is relevant to the type of clients that I'm targeting? Because
Willy Paul anataka kupigana na Harmonize, hiyo ni kiki.
But
akifanya hivyo kama amevaa shati ya Ngao Credit.
It entertains me as an individual, but it doesn't allow me to make decisions that are the buying decisions. And unless I'm into the brand building, I want to build my brand, I want to create. For an established brand like Ngao, we've been here for 15 years plus. We appreciate what the influencers do. And we acknowledge that it is important for us in terms of brand building. But again, as I've told you, cost to serve. Is it an additional cost or is it creating revenue for me?
Yeah.
And at what point am I making that decision? That is very critical for me to be able to now start seeing, are we making the decisions that are going to either increase our revenue, build our equity, or why are we bringing movie on board?
Yeah.
I have to answer those questions.
Of course, language.
I have to answer those questions. Atanisaidia aje.
Yeah.
Tunasema yote 9, 10 equals to besha shigana. It's important. It's important. Yes.
All right. It's interesting hearing you saying all these things. You're talking about equity and you're talking about when you're sitting with your board members and the things that you guys have to discuss, you have to answer to your bosses and all that. Is it something that you studied for, or is it something that you're currently even studying for? Because I know a lot of CEOs right now are also adding value to their brands by going back and doing MBAs and God knows what else.
Yeah, you've asked me that, you've answered it well. I didn't study for this. I found myself in it, and I said, let me play. As I've told you before, I want to align with the environment.
Yeah.
My intention in school was to create impact around lives. So later in life, after going through a few colleges here and there, I said I wanted to study sociology. Sociology is the study of societies and the patterns in societies. And that allows me to make decisions around what might likely to happen, how is it going to change people. So I thought sociology was a good thing. But then if you lived in this country and you've lived in Kenya, and you know very well that, in fact, Kenya is a typical example of what you read in the Bible. It's called Proverbs. Is it Proverbs 16:1?
Okay.
You can plan, but the ultimate answer comes from the Lord.
Yes.
You can plan about so many things, how you want to make a lot of money after school. But then when you come to the reality, then you realize, by the way, there is no money. There is no money coming. There is nobody calling me. I remember I have one of my Gmails. I had applied for close to around 300 jobs. 0 interview.
You applied for 300 jobs. This is when? After high school, before?
No, after college. After college. Yeah. It's a target. Every day I need to send at least 2 applications. Every single day. Monday to Friday.
How do you get to even email 300?
You plan yourself, you start sending them and nothing comes, no interview, not even like you did not qualify. There is one that I like, they say that we shall keep your CV in our archives for references. I never used to get that.
Have they ever called you to date?
I've never received a call.
You need to update that CV and send it back to them.
So that is the first aspect of it. So when you do that, then you realize that, okay, I could do something different with myself. And then I got into sales. I got into sales as I was selling money. I was doing sales in the bank, then got into microfinance sales. Of course, I grew with that. And I've also realized the gaps that I have. As we speak, I'm back in school.
Really?
Yeah, I'm back in school. I'm doing what we call studying and reading.
Okay.
So I do both.
Right.
All the time.
There's a time you told me, because I remember I interviewed you before, in 2023, you mentioned that at one point ulikuanga mtu wa kubeba, was it mchanga ama ni mawe?
No, nilikuwa makanga.
Wa
Yes.
lori.
Yes.
Za mawe.
Tulikuwa tunabeba mali. Not necessarily lori. Mawe could be mali.
So you want a lorry that used to do everything and anything?
Yes.
So this was what, after high school or at what point?
No, with my degree.
See,
with my degree and very good honors on it. Good grades.
Ukaanza kubeba mali.
See, what is a man if you cannot make money?
How much money were you making a day when you were in that lorry business?
No, it was a lot of money. It was good money.
Okay.
Yeah, I would make.
Get a figure?
Yeah, I would make close to almost 30,000 a month.
30K a month?
Yes.
And that time you were single? Did you have children? Were you married?
I wouldn't say I was single, but I was very single. I think single is a social status. You might not say you're single. I think it is your condition. I had no opportunity.
So you were very single?
Yes, I was very single-ish. I had a girlfriend who was very understanding. She's my wife now.
Good.
Yeah, so she really gave me the comfort that I needed to find myself, which was very critical for me. In hindsight, I look at it and I say this was the best thing that ever happened to me because she gave me the opportunity to do what I wanted to do in order to make money. But it was not a bad thing. I don't think it was a bad thing for me to go through that process. It was I've never regretted it in my life. I think it was one of those opportunities that I had to do what I had to do to make it happen.
Listening to you sounds like you didn't have a lot of distractions in life. It's not like it's not like, and I could be wrong, of course, but it's not like you had a lot of things on your mind because you had a set goal and you decided to do certain things and you did those things. For instance, you got out of high school, got into university. From university, when things were not working out, ukaingia kwa malori because you were not choosing any jobs. You took whatever that came your way. You applied for jobs diligently, 300 jobs. It sounds like you want something, you go and get it bila kuangalia kando.
No, not really. It's an art of storytelling. I think I tell my story with a juicy twist to it. It's not that nice as I put it.
Okay. It wasn't rosy.
No, it wasn't rosy. It wasn't rosy. I think sometimes when you're talking about the past, it's easy to pen it in a way that it is not the way it actually happened. I had a lot of distractions. The only thing I would say is that I have a good family. My siblings, I'm a last born in our family, so my siblings relatively allowed me to be me. So I think my big sister would not speak the way I speak because she had the responsibility of taking care of us, paying our school fees.
She was the deputy mother.
Yes,
deputy
actually, she was the mother. She was the mother because I lost my mother earlier in life.
Okay.
But because everybody else had left and they had started finding their ways, as the last born, I had an opportunity to almost like to curate my life in the way I wanted it to be. But then as an individual, I'm also not very scared of trying things that I'm not comfortable with. So I'm one of those people that love to try challenges without being scared of them.
Right.
But then I also had the comfort of thinking that there was no sibling of mine that was going to lose to miss school if I didn't do it right.
Right.
So I had an opportunity with this to actually do it right for my own. And I can only speak like that because I can look at it again.
Right.
When I was doing it, it was not that very clear to me. But I think I would say I'm in tune with who I am. I'm in tune with what I like. So that has given me an opportunity to figure out things as they come. And I have to say this to be clear. While I was at it, it was not as clear as it is today, looking back to it.
Yeah.
So you see, so when I tell you the story, and you'll say, oh, jamaa alikuwa makanga, akatoka huko, akafanya hii. The path is very clear. This guy knew what he was doing. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
It's only that today when I sit here in such an interview, I look back at it and then I can clearly see the patterns
You
forming.
can see the path that you followed.
Yeah, I can see the path that I followed, and I could see most of the questions that I had being answered, that I can now confidently say this was good.
Then you mentioned that you lost your mom at a fairly young age. How old were you when she passed on?
So I lost my dad while I was, I think, 3 or 2. And then I lost my mom while I was around 6, 7.
Where? So who brought you up from that time, your sister?
No, I was adopted by my uncle, R.I.P. He is the one who raised me up to when I was in high school. But then, of course, at this funny life where I lived with my uncle in Shags, but I also lived with my sister in Nairobi. So like during the school holidays, I'm in Nairobi. During school, I'm back in the village and I study there. That's why you find me, I'm one of those people who is, I'm a villager.
Yeah.
And I'm also a town guy. So you, depending on which
Oyier I want,
which Oyier you want, you'd find a very, very village-oriented Oyier, traditional, yani ule mjaluo kabisa. Then you find an Eastlands boy that is like deep Eastlands boy, he knows how to shimo za Eastlands.
Eastland umeishi wapi?
Grew up in Dandora a little bit, then moved to Komarok. Komarok is where I spent most of my life.
I want to reverse a little bit. When you lost your dad at 3, right?
Yes.
Then mom at 6.
Yes.
That was a young age.
No, I was barely in school.
Did you understand the concept of, first of all, death? Did you understand the concept of losing both your parents?
Now I would say this, and I hope it doesn't sound very, very bad. I don't miss them.
Okay.
Because I don't have a relationship. My uncle, the guy who raised me, he passed on 5 years ago.
Okay.
He is the relationship that I miss the most.
Okay.
Now that's like my dad. He's the one that I miss the most. He's the one that actually...
Because he's the one who nurtured you.
Yeah, he's the one that really affected me. When my mom died, I had awareness, but it wasn't anything that is significant to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was aware that there is death, but it wasn't significant to me. And I cannot tell you how the experience was because I was not mature enough to understand that experience.
I recently lost my brother, and
yeah,
that particular experience for me, I'm still, because it was just in November of last year, and I had lost another brother in the year 2000. Hiyo pia ilikuanga because I was 14 years old then. It was a really big deal for me. Then now losing this other brother was also another bigger deal for me. So, and I guess for me it's because I knew these people as an adult, for lack of a better word. And so for you, you're saying that losing your uncle when you were in high school?
No, I lost my uncle 2020.
Yeah, so that was 5 years ago.
Yes.
So that one is the one that you can relate with in terms of...
that one is like almost like... that is the first time I lost a parent.
Yeah.
Because that is somebody that had played a pivotal role in my upbringing. The way I think he shaped a lot of the way I think. He shaped the things that I have, my philosophy, the values that I hold are his values.
Yeah.
So with that really affected me. But if you ask me about my dad, I have his name.
But you can barely remember stuff.
Yeah, I hold his name. All of us called ourselves for years.
Yeah.
So that is a good thing for us. I think that is what I hold.
All right, fast forward now. Dandora, you grew up in, you said Dandora, which other mtaa?
No, we lived in Dandora for a while, about maybe a year or two. Then we moved to Komarok.
Koma?
Yes, Koma. Sasa Koma is where like, that's hood for me.
That was your hood. For you, that's home now.
Yes.
Like if you go back to Koma, you'll remember, tulikuwa tunabai sukuma hapa.
Yeah, so I have friends in Komarok. I have friends in Komarok. The people I grew up with in Komarok that are still my friends to date.
Yeah. You know that there's some people who have this fallacy and also like a myth that in Eastlands, there's a lot of hardship. But I've also had friends from places like Kayole, Dandora, uko kote, Umoja, Inako.
Yes.
All those places that people consider, Islando. And there's this, fallacy that people from there are usually rough. And when I say rough, I don't mean like rough in a bad way. but they've gone through some proper hardships. So they're a diamond that has literally been imepitia shida. Would you, is that true ama ni story tu ya watu?
I'm not sure. Not sure. Let me pick it this way.
Yeah.
So I come from Migori.
Okay.
The village has no electricity, but Dandora has electricity. So you see, it's a scale. Mm-hmm. When you say, you know, when you're in Komarok, you're in Upper Eastlands, you're big. You only know that you guys are not good until you compare yourself. So if I'm coming from Komarok, and I meet friends from, let's say, Kilimani or Langata, then you realize, hey, by the way, you guys,
kuna ka difference.
You guys, we are not like that good. So it's a scale.
Yeah,
it's a scale. It's a scale, and I think the moment you come to realization of that, and then it also comes to the values that you have in your households. What are the kind of values that you hold in your household that will now determine whether you are rough or what? Because there are people like my sisters grew up there, and my sisters never drink alcohol. They don't drink alcohol, so you expect them to be like Eastlands, Damu, They don't do that. But that is because of the values that they hold. They're the people who are very prayerful.
Yeah,
they hold themselves with a lot of respect. So for me, I think Eastlands is a mindset.
But there's some people also who just spoil the name of Eastlands.
No, it's a mindset. The way you think about yourself.
Yeah.
I have very, very, very amazing people, my cousins who grew up in Dadora for a long time. They're amazing people to date. And they don't have that like sisi ni watu wa D kind of a mentality. So for me, I think Eastlands is a mindset. It's the way you hold yourself. And yeah, so if you feel like it's who you are, then it's who you are.
Me, I've grown up along Gong Road, a place called Ngando. Ngando is not Karen, but iko karibu na Karen.
Yes.
It's just before you get to Lenana High School. And we lived in our own home. Parents built it and all. Then there's this one time I left that comfort of Ngando, found myself in this place in Kariobangi. And I can tell you, even the ambience, the aura of that area, for me, I really got scared. Vinyoto na kuangalia, the way people are dressed. And I think those are some of the things that probably we need to have debunked at one point in our life.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
You have
because watu wa Kariobangi wakijipata places kama Karen or even Runda. Because even me, having lived along Gong Road, when I go to places in Runda and I'm like, hey, okay, you can tell the difference even in how people carry themselves, how they talk, and so on and so forth.
It's funny you say that. It's even in the way we drive.
Yeah.
There's that aggression. When you're driving when you're driving on Jogoo Road, like you're looking at your form, you're looking at the ukombele, unaangalia side mirror zote,
windows locked. Yeah.
There's that aggression, hakuna mtu anakuachia barabara. Then you go to Gigiri and you're driving and there is people are like,
they give you way.
Peter too, wende.
So it's all here.
It's all in the mindset. So for me, I don't think, I refuse deliberately to be stuck into a thing, because I think I'm bigger than a thing.
Yeah,
I'm bigger than Eastlands. This was my life. You see, like I've told you, mimi nilikuwa makanga. It doesn't make it, that is not who I am. That was my situation at that moment, and it cannot define how I reason or how I think, because then it would mean then maybe you could be stuck as a student. You understand? Because that's a passage of life.
How do you okay, I'll say that you were lucky to some extent, the fact that you even got to university at a time when people were not necessarily focused on getting to university, when universities were not as many as they are right now. But you got out of you didn't have that mindset ya makanga, ya kuongelesha customers vibaya, ya kuambia watu nasty words and so on and so forth. How did you maintain a different mindset from the rest of your makanga folk?
I think it's the value that you grow up with. I grew up in my aunt, that's my uncle's wife. She's a very prayerful lady. And up to around maybe age of 14, she insisted that we go to church.
Yeah.
So that upbringing in church, the discipline, the focus, it allows you to also be somebody who is, can I say, grounded? But then, if you, I think for me, I expect a lot from myself. I expect a lot from myself. And that has always made me want more for myself. So today you'll say, Oyier, you are CEO of Ngao. For me, that is not it. How many lives have I impacted? What have I ever actually done? So as long as the dream is bigger than the situation, I think it will also give you like almost like a moral compass. This is where you need to go. This is how you need to go. So for me, it never like about where I am. It's more of where next? Where next? And is it improving what I have today?
Yeah.
So it's not about like Oyier, sasa leo uko kwa lori, umevaa overall. It's okay. Mimi nimefanya tu.
Beba magunia.
I've been a technician. We were building. I wore overall for 5 years.
Technician?
Yes, I was a technician. Tulikuwa tunachapa technician na Safaricom. Sisi ndio tumejenga Safaricom in Western Kenya. So we were building there, boss. But it doesn't say, I don't look at myself and say, this is who you are.
Today so you will remain there.
Today I run a company. It could be very big. But if I compare Ngao Credit to the global world, it's a tiny, tiny drop
in the ocean.
So then, if I limit myself as CEO Ngao, and then I say, nimefika wapi? How many lives have I impacting?
Yeah.
Our staff is around 200. Their company...
That is now countrywide.
Yes, countrywide. I have 200 staff. I could have... There are people, there are CEOs with over 10,000 people under them. So, I could not even be a team leader
in that company.
You understand? I cannot forget about even being a head of department.
Team leader.
Even a team leader, just somebody with maybe a small team.
Yeah.
So, if you start looking at yourself in that kind of prism and you start giving yourself that lens, then you realize that the moment you realize that you're nothing in the grand scheme of things, then you will start taking yourself seriously and say, I could do more. I could be better. This is not my definition. Maybe 5 years from now, you'd look for me and I tell you, boss, I'm running this company that is now all over Africa.
Yeah.
And you say, yeah. So that is how I look at myself, and I don't limit myself to a situation, to a condition, to a name at Imini Kijana wa Eastlands. And the worst thing and the good thing about all these movies is that I also don't deny it. I carry that badge with an honor.
It's in your DNA.
I am from Eastlands. Mini Kijana Migori.
Yeah.
Those things, you cannot take them away from me. That's who I am.
And, from your conversation, apart from the fact that you lost, your parents, and then, of course, you lost your uncle, is there like a significant challenge you can say you met in your life, whether it's through your education, whether it's through relationships? Because a lot of people will say, hey, me after, Madhali Dedi, me maisha yangu change completely. Ama venye nilipata hii heartbreak, demu yangu aliniacha, akaenda kuolewa na best man wangu, mazeni lichizi, life has never been the same for me. Is there such a challenge in your life you can say that this one, by the way, ilikuanga as significant in your life?
I'm not sure. Like, I have to really think critically. But I think one of the biggest ile na kupiga slap kwa kichwa was when I was jobless in Nakuru. I'd pretended that I was in politics.
Okay. When you say pretend, what do you mean?
So a few friends of mine, one of them wanted to be governor. So he said, let's go campaign. So we said we are going to be governor. So we are going to run a county and all that. And then it didn't work well. So I came back and I was
What
jobless.
position were you vying for? Did you vie or you were just a supporter?
No, I was critical. I ran into a governorship campaign. I also supported my friends who are in politics. I did politics.
You wanted to be a governor?
No, I was supporting somebody who wanted to be a governor.
Oh, okay.
So we did a few things. It didn't end up well. I lost everything. I had no job. And I was seated in my bed sitter in Nakuru, and I was like, what the hell? Like, what the hell?
Wait, this ambition that you have of becoming a governor's friend, let me call it that.
Yes.
And running a campaign for a governor.
Yes.
You were living in a bed sitter.
Yes, I was living in a bed sitter. But I'm an ambitious guy. Ambition doesn't have to be, boss. Who knows where you come from when you're in town?
Okay, no one. But kuna watu unapitananga nao town wananuka mabati, unajua ametoka nini?
No.
Ameoga na maji ya mvua.
Boss, let nobody know your background unless you're over it.
Okay.
Boss, unapiga suti vizuri, piga
marash
si lazima. Ukioga vizuri ni sawa. Piga walk, piga look vizuri, piga pasi. You know you don't have to dress expensively to look good.
Yeah.
Alafu mimi sinakwambia mimi ni mtu wa Islands. I know mashimo, nimeingia Gikomba.
Chukua nguo kadhaa.
Unachukua shati mzuri moja safi Gikomba.
Kamera.
Unapeleka pale kwa Burundi, wanaipiga, wanaishape vizuri, it looks like you. You dress up, you get out of this place, nobody knows.
Yeah.
And then you see, as long as there is content in your brain, it's just a matter of time.
Yes.
I've told you, I read. Soma vitabu, fanya nini, read, have some content. It's a matter of time. Yes, you are coming from a bed sitter, but the content is worth is equivalent to a mansion.
Yeah.
Piga tu content yako hapo, watu wanasikia. In time watajua huyu mtu anajua kitu anasema.
Yeah.
I didn't even care, but that moment of when I was in that situation, it really humbled me.
How much money did you lose? How much money did you spend that?
I quit a job to do that. So I quit my well-paying, it was well-paying job to do that. So I had no job. You know, kuna like when you have a salary, you can complain it's little.
But it's a salary.
Salary is almost like, it's like almost like the sun will rise. You know the sun will rise. It might be dark, but the sun will rise.
Hata ukisota hapa katikati ya mwezi unajua
the sun will rise.
Nitakuwa na mshahara.
When you don't have a salary, it's, you don't know.
Total darkness.
It's always 3 a.m. It's always 3 a.m. Like you don't know when is the sun gonna rise, man. And you know it's dark at 3 a.m. I don't know if you've ever found yourself at 3 a.m. and you're like, it's so dark, you don't know what's gonna happen next. And you know you're an adult. You made your own adult decisions, and you cannot now call your brothers and sisters and say, hey, you know, you guys, man, I can't eat. And they can only send you once in a while. So you see,
but not all the time.
Everybody is also going through their own thing. I think for me that is the most defining moment in my life, where
How did you get out of it?
I got a job. I got a job. I through a connection of my brother, I got a job, and it was like I took the lowest job I could have. And I say that was a good thing for me. Yeah. Because I was sure that I would rise again. Yeah, and I did. Okay. I did.
Okay.
I think it's one of those humbling moments for me.
Yeah.
The whole episode. And then maybe just one more is there's a day we were on the lorry, and we had a tire burst.
Okay. While the lorry was moving.
Yeah. And you saw Makanga and I changed tire. And I had all my degrees and all my books and everything, and I looked at myself and said, hey, how tough can it be? And everything is tough, man. After getting all these A's,
do it I am a bust.
You know, I usually change tire. It's not what grade you got. It's the tire must change, and you have to.
Yeah. Inataka ugali bana.
Mazee, alafu it was raining.
Yeah.
It was cold. We're in Timboroa.
Yeah.
It was raining. Kabaridi. Sasa ujui ufanye nini, mazee. It's a hard thing, but it's one of those things that it slaps reality into your face, and it tells you, you know what? Be humble.
Humble yourself.
Humble yourself. Things can go. You think it is worse? It can go worse.
Okay. I want to ask you a cliche question as we close this conversation. What is that one thing that we probably haven't heard from Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos or Aliko Dangote that you can tell someone, that only Wycliffe Oyier can tell someone to propel them to their next phase in life?
I will also give you a cliche answer, if you allow me to say that.
Please do.
Add value. Add value. Forget about the money will follow. Add value. For me, I've always wanted to ask myself, what value do I add in every environment I am? Do I add value to the next person? Do I create something? And then there is an advice my former boss always gave me, is to focus. Focus.
Just focus.
Focus. If there's one thing that he told me and I really found it to be grateful, was focus. But for me, from Oyier, I would say add value. Look for ways in which you'd add value to Mbuvi. Mbuvi, shida Mbuvi ni nini? Ni kufungua hii chupa nitakufungulia.
Itafutie solution.
Hivyo tu. Hivyo tu. Yaani wewe mwenyewe utaanza kusema baada hiyo kama kuna shida ya chupa, tafuta Oyier.
Anajuanga hizi.
Anajua hii story. And then now people will start paying for that. And of course, if you can monetize it, what's up?
Why not?
Why not?
All right. Thank you so much for honoring our call. I know you're such a busy person. Running 200 people by this mchezo. Me, my household of about 4 people, niko na shida. I can imagine only 200. That's another problem.
Those are adults.
Yes.
2 adults.
They can run themselves.
Yes.
But thank you so much for coming. Always a pleasure. We shall even come there to Ngao Credit. I'm sure you people have new stuff you'd like us to.
We will call you in and you come in, have a conversation with us.
Sure. Why not? We'd like also to give a special thanks to our location for today. This is MGM Muthu Hotels. Currently, we are at Silver Springs. Silver Springs iko pale to just opposite Nairobi Hospital. Kama unatembeanga hizi maeneo, ingia hapa ndani, have some tea, have some coffee, have some soda. And also on the weekends, by the way, they have a very interesting offer. For about 3,000 shillings, you can have all you can eat and all you can drink. And by the way, it's also happening across all their properties. Like I said, kuna Muthu Sovereign Suits and Spa, hiyo iko pande ya Limuru, swimming pool. And then last but not least, they have this place where we are, that is Muthu Silver Springs Hotel. I can assure you, very affordable prices. See what they have on offer. But for now, tunasema kwaheri. We shall be seeing you on the next one.